It is the epitome of intentional leadership. This is what I talk about. This is the heart of what I do. It is about the intentional choices and mindset that we have when being leaders in our interactions.
Ooh, it's time for jam sessions with Tina. She's got leadership, insights, and more. Come on in. Leave the titles at the door.
Welcome to Jam Sessions with Tina. I'm your host, Tina Eliana. This is a special episode. Daisy and I are here in the studio. I thought today I would share what I've experienced this week. And it happened in 3 consecutive days. Saturday ended up being a day of rest for me. I was just feeling worn out. Had been very productive during the week, and I thought maybe that was what it was, and maybe it was a contributing factor. So I chose to just take it easy on Saturday and give my body the rest that it was telling me it needed. Sunday, it was almost like I hadn't slept at all on Saturday. And I know that I have health issues that are extenuating circumstances, but this goes beyond that. I just felt like there was no energy. I just felt cruddy. And not like sick cruddy and not like the blahs where you're depressed. I just kind of, Anyone else ever get the S? And then it hit me Sunday afternoon. It was Father's Day. And I thought, crap, you got me again. Every year on Father's Day and Father's Day weekend. And I usually just have something like that, but I forget about it. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Like I forget that it's going to happen because it only happens once a year. And I've gone through all the healing. I've gone through all the therapy. Yet lingering in the back of my mind is the idea that there is some type of psychological, emotional connection to Father's Day. And it's not like Father's Day is the exact same day every year, but it still happens every Father's Day weekend. My parents separated when I was 4 months old. I met my biological father for the first time in my 20s. But we didn't establish a relationship. When we reconnected, I met my biological grandmother. And because of the wonderful relationship that I have with my uncle, I was able to see her a couple of times during visits. When my grandma passed away, I was able to attend her funeral. And while that was an extremely difficult weekend for everyone, I reconnected with my biological dad. It was the only time I ever experienced sitting on a couch with my dad's arm around me and falling asleep against his shoulder. I got to meet my other uncle and establish a relationship with him. And after that meeting, the communication became more consistent with my biological dad. But it was a few years after that. Several years later, He reached out to me. I received this letter out of the blue from him. And that was the door that opened up letters to one another, occasional phone calls. One year I actually got a birthday card from him. All my life I've been told, you look so much like your dad. And I do. I'm very much a carbon copy of so much of him. But not just physical. Like as a child, I had this one random habit of twirling my hair and just in thought. And it was the exact same spot and the exact same habit he had, even as an adult. I have behaviors and mannerisms like him. And what I discovered after we connected is I think like him. I process information like him. I distinctly remember one time calling him after work and sharing with him about a situation. And before I told him how I handled it, he interjected and said, "Let me guess, you," and proceeded to tell me almost verbatim exactly what I thought about it, how I processed it, and how I responded to it. He has ever been the only person that truly understands how my brain works, how I think. The last time I saw him was in December of 2011. He and my stepmom and my younger sister were traveling and staying overnight a few hours from where I lived. And I was invited to come visit them. And ultimately, I was invited to stay overnight just as how circumstances worked out. I have chronic insomnia. And so I woke up and thought, well, I don't want to disturb anybody. I'll go on down to the lobby. And when I walked down there, who was sitting there? My dad, who has chronic insomnia. And we stayed up all night talking and sharing. He pouring his heart out to me and I to him. When sun started to come through the windows and it was still he and I, he reached in his pocket and pulled out this worn out keychain that was the prayer of Jabez, which is First Chronicles 4:10. Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain. He gave me that keychain, which I still have. And this was his prayer for me. Before we parted ways that morning, I got the only picture I'll ever have with my dad. In 2012, he ended up having cancer in his sinuses. I didn't find out from him. I found out from my sister. He stopped communicating with me. And all those insecurities, the hurt of abandonment, the not understanding, everything that I'd gone through as a child. And let's be real, most of my life came flooding back. I wanted one last conversation with him, just to hear his voice one more time so I could try to memorize it a little more. I wanted to tell him I loved him. I wanted to tell him I'd forgiven him. And even though I'd said it before, I just wanted to say it one more time so that maybe this time he would finally embrace it. Because he never had peace with some of the decisions he made in his life, including how he handled being my dad. He passed away in June 2013. And I had the privilege to be able to say a few words at his funeral. I had the opportunity to see him one last time. The Father's Day is a very complicated day for me. I was very blessed with a grandfather that loved me as if I was his daughter. I was very blessed at 10 years old to get a stepdad that just dropped step off of there and became dad. But at that point, abandonment had taken hold of my formative foundation, and there's still all those issues no matter how many great men I had in my life. There is a bond that a daughter has with her dad that I never had opportunity to experience. There was no father-daughter dances or daddy-daughter dates or any of the things that daughters with healthy relationships with their dad get. Old wounds have been healed. Mental health therapy will always be part of my life now, as it has been for several years. So that was Sunday. Monday, I learned that one of my mentors and someone I consider a friend has been diagnosed with stage 4 renal cancer, which is kidney cancer, with the tumor bigger than the actual kidney. Now, it's not my story to tell. I'm not even going to share the name because it's not my story. It's not the reason for this podcast. This man is so loved by people all around the world. He has 3 children, I believe, and a beautiful wife. His little girl, again, it's not my story to tell. He loves her so well. What I see in his relationship with her are aspects that I had also wished I had had as a child. I have great respect for how he takes on his responsibility as her dad, as the example of how she will navigate interactions with men the rest of her life. And it's his response. He has demonstrated the ultimate leadership. He is intentionally still showing up in ways that many people who get these kind of diagnoses or even other kind of diagnoses and just withers and just goes into this almost room and close the door and shuts the world out. And he says, I still have a mission. I still have my family to love. I still have the work before me. And cancer has no idea who it's messing with. He's still showing up. Now, maybe he's having to do some things a little differently, and that's okay. What he's demonstrating is intentional leadership doesn't say, well, because of these circumstances happening in my life, I'm going to step away from what I feel are my leadership roles in this world. He's not stepped away from being a husband. He's not stepped away from being a father or a business partner or his podcast as a mentor. He's not seeing this as an obstacle. He is seeing this as an opportunity to become even a greater leader in every aspect of his life. And I so admire that about him. That was Monday. Tuesday was the anniversary of my biological dad's death. And some of the similar emotions that I was feeling on Sunday came up a little bit on Tuesday. Why am I sharing this? First of all, if you were like me and you had a parent that, for whatever circumstance, was not part of your life, I want you to know you are so loved. You have value and a great purpose. And if you're hurting, you need healing, there are resources out there. You deserve to be the healthiest version of you possible. Another reason I'm sharing this is to highlight the choices that my mentor is making while facing cancer. It is the epitome of intentional leadership. This is what I talk about. This is the heart of what I do. Intentional leadership is showing up in your home, in your communities, in your faith-based organizations, in your career. It is about the intentional choices and mindset that we have when being leaders in our interactions. He has this positive attitude. He's determined that he is going to have surgery. He is going to get treatment. He is going to do everything that he feels is appropriate for his body. He's saying, I'm going to use this to increase my awareness of life. He's allowing this to be an opportunity to strengthen and deepen his already beautiful mission in life. One thing about strong leaders is they are so accustomed to giving. But it can be a struggle to be on the receiving end, to help offset the cost of medical bills. A GoFundMe page has been set up. Exceptional leaders are able to be vulnerable. My mentor was able to realize taking care of those bills and taking care of his family were the higher priority. He could raise $1 million and it still wouldn't come close to what he's given to hundreds of thousands of people. But as an intentional leader within his home, he has said, here are the things I've got to do that's best for my family, because that's the priority, right? It's a family first, then your community, then your career. Career, I know it pays the bills. It's not the highest priority. And he recognizes that. I greatly admire the different aspects of his leadership he is demonstrating because of this diagnosis. Having to be vulnerable with saying, listen, I don't have the greatest insurance coverage. It's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills. And to say, yeah, we will accept donations to the GoFundMe page because that's what's best for me and my family. That's leadership in action. Part of how he is able to navigate what he's facing is by letting other people love him. Sometimes when I receive a compliment about my personality and my joy, my smile and my laugh or the light or all of the lovely compliments that I have received, sometimes I get asked about my story. Why do I love people the way that I love people? Why do I have a heart for people? Because I made a choice. We can allow life's circumstances to define us or to refine us. And I chose refinement. I chose to use whatever I dealt with to be for a greater purpose. I love whosoever's. What do I mean by that? Read John 3:16. God loves whosoever's. I love whosoever's. Remember, you are loved. And if you don't know what your purpose is, the pursuit of that answer and then getting to live your purpose, totally worth it. If you like to listen to future episodes of Jam Sessions with Tina, I ask that you like and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform and share this episode. Make your imprint one worth remembering.
Come on in. Leave the titles at the door.